How do you like it? I'm a novice at this. I make a few mistakes.
Justin Thunderliger.
I don't know.
It was a busy weekend in the world of professional wrestling. AEW was all out in Toronto. Indianapolis had their WrestlePalooza. And today on the show, we are going to be talking. Yes, I said we because I am not alone as always. He is joining me. Who is he? Well, he is Hutch. Hutch, how's it going?
I woke up this morning actually thinking that. I was like, why do I have this song in my head? And then I realized, oh my God, is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus like the most memorable thing from the weekend? It could possibly be, at least in my mind. But no, hey, I'm doing great. I don't know what your question was. Was it, am I doing okay? How am I doing? I'm doing great.
How are you doing? He's doing great. That's been established. I'm good. I have my coffee. He has his... I don't even think Hutch.
Yeah, this is our first morning. I am sitting with a coffee as well. This is our first morning recording ever. So we'll see how this happens. How it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Beauty. Let's get right into things. Hutch, is there now too much wrestling?
Is there too much wrestling? I don't know. Is everybody complaining? I seem to recall very recently there was a weekend where it was ROH on a Friday, AEW on a Saturday. We ended off with Evolution by Sunday, and there was NXT and everything. And I seem to recall watching a good majority of that wrestling, but somehow this weekend seemed like too much. So perhaps you're right. Maybe it's you know what? I realized maybe this is a fodder for a video. You know, the Monday Night War happened, but they never competed against each other on pay-per-view. They competed against each other every single week on TV, but not on pay-per-view. They always gave each other that like leeway of at least a couple weeks apart, if whatnot. And it's not like they were buddies or anything, but I don't know. It seemed a little more wholesome to be fighting
landscape.
On TV.
It was a different landscape. Right now with streaming, you can go head-to-head. With pay-per-view, it was just a different world, right? Just remember, to order the pay-per-views, we used to have to call a number, and they would have to set it up.
You know what? That's true. Now there's pirating. Now there's streaming. Now there's like, this package and that package, right? Come on. Yeah, you're right.
Pirating back then, my friend. I can tell you that as
of course. All right. It's far easier to pirate, right? Now,
yes.
Now instead of having the know-how, you just need to have the link.
Exactly. That's exactly it. No, but it's one of what really inspired my thinking was that, around me, I was sitting on the floors right by the entrance, and people around me were talking about like, man, there's just a lot of wrestling, then blah, 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 blah. And I'm just thinking like, this is great now, and I love it. I absolutely do love it. I'm not feeling tired. I'm tired because I have to watch it all for these shows. But are they burning out the casual fan? Or are casual fans going to lean towards one promotion? And are we going to get to that point where people just watch what they want to watch as opposed to trying to watch everything?
Geez, I don't know. You were already talking about how it's a different time. I mean, we live in the time of binging. Like, I keep trying to think about my son and what it's like for him growing up and having none of the shows on at the same time. Like, why was X-Files so huge? Because it was on. Everybody had to watch X-Files. It's like either that or you're watching Golden Girl reruns. Yeah. So, but now you could just pick what you like and binge it. So if you're a wrestling fan, even if there wasn't a ton of wrestling right now, too much wrestling, you could still go and binge wrestling because, we live in that era now, right? You can go back in time. Geez, if I was to close this window with our meeting on it here, I think I have a Jesse Ventura promo from 1984 on a YouTube video right behind this screen here. So, you can binge whatever you want whenever you want. So, yeah, is there too much wrestling? Maybe, but we live in the age where people watch what they want all the time. So if that's what you wanted to watch 24/7, I mean, I guarantee you there's people who within an hour of these two pay-per-views ending probably went online and started watching some old wrestling. So maybe there isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, just like I said, it's just a question. I think that some casuals may start doing one of two things. I can see them either watching just one promotion or just getting burnt out. It's a lot more expensive to watch wrestling this weekend and moving forward than it was previously, unless you have a VPN or you're in Canada. or anywhere
True.
else in the world except for the USA.
No, you're right. You asked me, is there too much wrestling for the casual fan right now? And I immediately went into a diatribe about how fucking diehards, maybe there isn't enough for diehards. And so I completely kind of skewed the question. You're right. Perhaps for casuals, there is too much. But it's a very interesting world. I mean, if you're really a casual, everything about wrestling is overwhelming. Funny that I started this whole podcast like singing the Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus like theme song there. If I'm thinking about a Twitter video I saw this weekend, it was a guy sitting in the crowd being like, imagine you're a non-wrestling fan. You have come to your first ever wrestling event. You don't watch wrestling, and your friend's like, I have a ticket. And he's like, and this guy shows up at the end of a match, and they look at each other, and the entire arena begins to sing their song and dance together, right? Yeah, like literally everybody puts their hands up and starts going, oh, 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 and he's just like, what the F is going on here? He's like, so wrestling is very much its own unique culture. I mean, there's nothing like being there in the arena. You were there. We both live in Toronto. I didn't go this time. I went to a local bar, ram-packed with people, like that classic meme of the screen where everybody in the bar goes like, yay, all at the same time, and you can superimpose whatever you want on that screen there in the bar. I was in one of those bars, and man, what an environment it is. So if you're a wrestling fan, I highly doubt that if you really are obsessed with wrestling and you love wrestling, I highly doubt there was too much wrestling for you this weekend.
Fair enough. I think I have enough friends who are casuals who said that it's hard to keep track of everything. And that's one of the other things that really stood out for me is, and it's true. It's honestly true.
Dude, even the diehards were being told, why didn't you watch Being the Elite this week? That's what you would know why this is happening this way. And I'm like, oh my God. So like, yeah, maybe for the casuals, it might be a little too much. But the casuals are the ones who are tuning into John Cena and Brock Lesnar, buddy. Like, of course. That's where we're going with this, right?
I've never been a fan of when, the social media and the internet shows become part of the story. Like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm sorry. I watch enough wrestling on TV. I watch enough wrestling when it airs. Don't give me homework. Don't give me homework to watch extra stuff like Being the Elite. And luckily, I knew the Jack Perry stuff. I knew what happened, but I'm not going to watch it.
Dude, nobody does hype packages and promos like WWE. You see that shit at the beginning of WrestlePalooza?
Oh, that was great.
Dude, really on a good pay-per-view on a WrestleMania, every single match can have a quick little opening package, and they're all great. WWE's great at this. So they're teaching UFC, they're teaching other people how to do it for years now. I would say almost any time you see a great hype promo package, I mean, there's a lot of flavor of WWE in there. I think they really created the genre in a lot of ways.
From a marketing perspective, from a promotional perspective, WWE has been king, and other sports take from WWE also with like production and whatnot. WWE is king. Let's remember, NFL production changed when the original XFL came out back in 2001. There are things like cameras on strings and wires and overhead shots and things like that that XFL introduced that NFL took over.
Vince McMahon, you're always an innovator, yet you'll always be hated. He lived long enough to watch himself become the villain, unfortunately, as they say. Yeah. But the reason I brought that up is for the people who do the best promo packaging in the business. If there's going to be a Twitter beef or an online beef or a YouTube show, like, yo, throw it in the promos. I mean, you can clip Twitter beefs and put them on screen to like moving pictures and music and stuff. Like, hey, feed me this online beef. They did it okay with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes and like the backstage stuff and Kevin in his car and like CTV footage of him beating him up, like, dude, that's the future we're in right now. Like, if Liv Morgan is really this like modern gal who's how she's got her flavor. I could totally see her being a bitch online to people. Like, yo, incorporate, especially now while she's injured at home, right? Incorporate the Twitter beef into the promos. So, yeah, I don't want them to give me homework either. If somebody's beefing online, can you throw that into the promo for me, pal? Like, I ain't got time for this shit.
That's the whole point. That is the whole point of the promos, to explain to you how we got to this point. If they're not adding that stuff, they are doing something wrong. All right, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTRs, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Copeland and Cage. Hometown crowd, hometown singing, Wendell Clark and Bubbles showing up to start things off. But Hutch, what did you think of the actual match?
Of the match itself, it was a very serviceable match. Solomonster was online talking about how the ending was the same as an Extreme Rules match from like a couple years ago, like Edge and Balor one of their matches before Edge took off. It was like the exact same ending of some tag match that they had there. But hey, man, you know, you gotta reuse stuff sometimes, but I think the match was perfectly serviceable. I don't think that for somebody that watched it on a screen as opposed to you who was live in the arena, I don't think that the crowd noise came across as hype as it probably was in the arena. Was it hype when they came out?
It was pretty loud. It was pretty loud. But I will say that like AEW, something with the production that has always, I guess, bothered me, for lack of a better word, is their mixing. Their audio mixing is horrendous. And I watched bits and pieces of the show on TV. The mixing was off. It was loud in the arena. It was loud pretty much the entire night.
Yeah, you know, this is a traveling show. As somebody who has done live sound reinforcement, I've even worked for IA51 here in town. So I've worked in that building at Coca-Cola Coliseum and stuff. And these huge these live sound systems are not just plug and play. But you know, I'm not arguing with you, Boris. They could do a better job. Sometimes it has been atrocious in the past, but they're getting better. They're getting better and better and better. You know, as far as this match is concerned, I'm really liking the dynamic between Cope and Cage now. I obviously, when this whole first thing started, I think they were looking to turn Christian babyface eventually or something. But what with the injuries and how long it took to like drag it out, and now Nick Wayne being injured, and just they've really been snake bit or Luchasaurus bit. A lizard bit throughout this whole thing. So I kind of like that they've now kind of been stuck with the characters that they had, and they haven't been able to flush it out, and now they're just going with it. And I think it's going to work out great. Like asshole Christian and like kind of, you know, like drippy, honey, nice guy, freaking Edge who gets angry all the time. And I don't know, like this is great. I'm really liking this dynamic, and looks like they did our 5-second pose again. This is going to be a regular thing. I like it.
It seems to be the thing going on. Yeah, the crowd was really into this match, especially the John Cena got a chant going for John Cena in the arena. So that was really cool. Beth Copeland makes an appearance and then gets taken out by FTR at the end. Just quickly, your thoughts on the post-match shenanigans.
For a second, I thought she'd been there before. I said, like, there was somebody online saying, like, hey, she's finally debuted. I'm like, really? Didn't she do a thing with, but no, she hasn't before. So there we go. Beth Copeland, she looked great. If she's going to work some matches, I mean, she's probably one of the better workers over at AEW in a lot of ways. The difference between the two divisions, WWE and AEW, on the women's side is very stark. And I don't mean like I was going to say Ricky Stark. So what's the other one? There's a Stark over at WWE too, a girl.
Zoe?
There we go, man. We're really fans. Hey, we're on top of this. We're like, Zoe. But anyways, yeah, I was talking about women's wrestling, so it would have been better if I just gone to Zoe Stark. Let's do an edit here. Zoe Stark. There we go. Punch that in. That's in the industry. That's called a punch, boys and girls. We're punching in.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought it was pretty good. They had a fun match, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next with them. In fact, I thought they could even have lost here. There was a lot going on. Once again, AEW, a lot of matches could have gone either way. So that was the fun thing about this show. I thought it was going to be heel heavy with victories, and I guess we'll find out whether I was right. I can't remember right now.
Right. I'm actually I have to look down the card to remind myself of what happened, and that's
just 13 matches. So if I'm trying to come up with a percentage in my head, I'm like, forget it. I'll figure it out at the end.
It ain't gonna happen right now. All right, So that was that good match. I liked it. I enjoyed it. The next match was a returning Eddie Kingston, who got a pretty awesome pop from the Toronto crowd, versus Big Bill. This match wasn't too long, but I think it was just what it needed to do. But this match, in my most humble opinion, could have been left for a Dynamite or a Collision.
Well, I mean, Eddie Kingston coming back, that's great for a pay-per-view. Toronto's okay. It's close to New York. But I love that Eddie Kingston is consistent. No reason to look good. Just come out in your Claudio Sucks Egg shirt, come out all sweaty, come out with his little like Fred Flintstone walk that he does, where he barely does like a whole stride, yet somehow it makes him look like really dangerous because he's just like doesn't even have time. The guy's so ready for business and so gangster, he doesn't even have time to do an entire stride. He's like, I'm just gonna go get there and fucking stab someone in the face, kick someone's ass. So I love Eddie Kingston. Maybe you're right, but I don't know. Eddie, man, god damn it. I was really hoping to have him come back and look a little bit better. Like he looks like shit. I know his gimmick is looking like shit, but come on, man.
Considering that he came back from injury, like more often than not, when guys come back from injuries, they look amazing. Don't you remember Triple H after the quad injury? Like, he just, when he like gained 50 pounds of muscle and could barely walk at that point.
Exactly. Eddie Kingston was in traction, like couldn't walk and shit. Like, can't you hit the gym and do some upper body stuff? Like, what else are you doing with your time, bud?
I'm the last person I should say anything, but yeah, that's that. But it's true. Like, you would think that with after what, a year and a half off, a year and something off, but
dude, Eddie Kingston lives his gimmick. We all love Eddie Kingston because he is his gimmick. Do you know how much I love Chikara early Eddie Kingston with his Puerto Rican pants and shit? Like, come on, and like the wife beater. I love me some Eddie Kingston. But you've lived the gimmick long enough that we really, really believe you, man. You're kind of at the point now where everybody would be really proud of you if you showed up with just a little bit of definition and it looked like you'd been taking care of yourself. Like, we understand you live a rough life. You're from the streets. You're gangsta. You don't go to the gym, okay? We get it, Eddie. We know. But, like, at this point, even like the gangsters make some money and get their shit together, you know? Like, eventually your grill becomes like going to the dentist and getting your teeth replaced with whiteys. Like, go to the gym and do some shit, and we'll all be really proud of you at this point. Like, come on. You've lived the gimmick long enough of I look like shit. Please, I'm getting worried.
Love that. All right. Eddie Kingston wins this one after a weird ending that I actually didn't catch being in the crowd, but people were mentioning to me after the fact. All right, MJF, Mark Briscoe, thumbtacks and tables match. Hutch, my one of my nitpicking of AEW is when they have a gimmick match sometimes, like something new like this, they don't really explain the rules. For some reason, and this might be a Boris thing, this might be 100% on me, but for some reason I thought that this match was going to follow the rules of a tables match, where you have to put your opponent through the tables. So, in the middle of the match, when MJF started tossing the tables back under the ring, I'm like, well, that's stupid. How is he going to win? It's a great heel tactic, but that's a stupid move. Then, a couple moments later, I realized, oh, you have to get the pin to win this match. So I was a little confused there. May have been a Boris thing, but the nitpicking in me says that they really should have explained the rules from the get-go, and maybe they did on TV. I don't know. You tell me.
I was about to say, that's the live show experience compared to being watching it here at home. Like, not for one moment did I think this was a tables match. So there you go.
So you're
yeah, no, I'm not calling you stupid. But hey, here's one where I wasn't sure who was going to win, and I was hoping Mark Briscoe would win. I've been wanting Mark Briscoe to win for a while.
You said it. He needs a win.
Yeah, but just in general, like, you know, if I go back to like my internal booker, it's been years now that I've been thinking like, oh, Mark Briscoe could use a win here. Oh, Mark Briscoe make a great TV champ, a great TNT champ here, and blah, blah, blah. And it just never happened, right? He did get his ROH championship run, but I don't know, it seemed weird. I think it would have been better for him to get an undercard title somewhere else, because it would have seemed legitimate. Getting the ROH title seems like, here's that title for that company that you're like the guy from. If he had won the TNT title or anything else, I don't know, would have been cool. What am I talking about again? Oh, yeah. How MJF is like the baddest mother effer. Oh, my God. Like, I have met Alicia many times, his wife. I'm sure you've met her living here in Toronto. You know, I haven't, believe it or not, as a cameraman working for Sony at one point. She was working for Sony. Well, she left, and they actually gave me her job. I was supposed to find like a talking head girl, and I was just like, how would I go do those gigs? And I'll just hand the mic to the musical artist, and I'll prompt them with questions, and I'll just cut myself out. So then we started doing these segments where it was just talking heads. But anyways, I literally took over for her at a job. Like, it's amazing how incestuous this entire community can be. But yeah, Lude, I remember when she started dating him, and I was like, oh, isn't that nice? And her dad used to like hang out and make sure she wasn't getting screwed around with wrestlers, and like her brother and her dad were at all these shows or whatnot. And like, so MGF must really be a good dude, because he broke through the firewall of Alicia Tout. And she was also, she was really becoming her own woman at that point as well. She didn't need brother and dad around. It was all, it was all perfect timing, a perfect storm, as it were. But the perfect storm of MJF, I don't know why I started talking about his wife. Maybe it's just because like I want to fuck this guy. Holy shit, MJF is so cool. He at 3:30 a.m. in the morning in Mexico, he's defending his CMML title, like dressed up like freaking Homelander or some shit. And then he flies to Toronto, not Texas, not Middle America, like goes over all of America to Toronto, and then has a table and tax match with Mark Briscoe. bro. But I
did
will
you
be
watch
sorely
any of the match
disappointed.
from Friday? Like it's
I did not.
Take the time right after record and watch that match. You will be even more impressed that MJF had the match that he did 12 hours later.
You know, as somebody that works in film, those 16-hour days, 18-hour days, we got to get the shot. You know, you have 100 people set up with flags and cameras, and like you're on a beach, so you've got tracks that you've set up along the beach for cameras to move along. And like, dude, it's a massive setup, and you're not just going home because you've hit 12 hours. Like, we're staying until the shot gets done. I feel like MJF could be in that mindset. I'm already wrestling. I just wrestled. Now I'm on a plane. Like, he's like, okay, I'm going to rest a bit, and then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. You know, I can respect it. He's young. He's strong. This is the time to pull an all-nighter and go to Toronto after Mexico and wrestle 2 matches in like a 12-hour period that are both completely insane. Like, and I love it.
And on top of it all, he's filming a movie between wrestling gigs.
Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes my lady friend gets mad at me and she's like, why are you doing that thing for that person? Why are you stretching yourself so thin with this and with that? And I'm like, one day people aren't going to call me up excited to offer me an opportunity. One day somebody's not going to be like, oh, dude, you'd be perfect to help us with this. One day I'm going to be bored and old and really glad that I took those 3 opportunities over 2 days and pushed myself and got it all done. And MJF's going to be able to look back at his wrestling career, probably have a hell of a career under his belt and still probably be young and healthy and on to bigger and better things. So, you know, good on him, man. Now's the time. Once you're in the zone, you stay in the zone. So now it would be tough. Couple days later when all the bruises have set in and it's all, now it would be tough for him to go wrestle another match. But dude, he probably still hadn't even like had the bruises set in from the first match. He's like, all right, let's do it now. Let's go. I'll get on the plane.
Right? I honestly thought this match was going to go second, third. Like it went third. I thought it would go earlier, right? If Cope and Christian didn't have to open the show, like this would have been a perfect opener just to get MJF done and over with. Question for you: now that this feud with Mark Briscoe seems to be over, what is next for MJF? Is he going to turn his attention to Hangman and Adam Page again?
Well, I mean, he's got that contract, right? And he might be going away to do things, and you know, there's lots that could go on with MJF. I think the more important question is what's next for Mark Briscoe. Like, wow. You've given him the win. You've given him a win over a former champion, a guy who could really be, I mean, out of anybody in this company, MJF has like the most value. Like, you could do a lot with this kid. He could very well be the face of the company. You've got your Hangmans and your other people, but like, you know, he's one of the pillars for real. You know, that's a big win for Mark Briscoe. Like, what are we going to do with this? Well, I don't know. I haven't actually thought about it.
Turned his attention to Don Callis and the family, right? On the show. They booked a match for Wednesday, a trios match with a returning Orange Cassidy, part of his team. So seems like he's going to be doing something with them.
Is it Hologram? Who's the other person?
Yep, it's Hologram.
Okay, I think I saw that graphic. Great. You know, get yourself a mishmash Avengers together because Don Callis family is like the NWO now. Like, you can't do it by yourself, Mark. But now that I've said that, this match was freaking awful. What the hell? God, I really don't need these guys throwing themselves on tax and all of this goddamn stuff. Like, I don't know why there needs to be so much goddamn bullshit and plunder and nonsense and gimmicks in AEW. Like, I don't know why I suddenly just turned on you here.
You
but
really
like,
did.
after praising these guys so much, like, I didn't need to see this goddamn match. And if I don't see some memes online about like MJF having his period or some sort of use of the fact that his crotch was the most bloodiest part of his body at the beginning of the match, you know, but dude, I don't need to see these guys doing this. And it's weird. Mark Briscoe's always kind of had this little bit of a like hunchback and he's missing his teeth. And like, I feel like I don't need to see this guy who kind of looks like an old man baby getting hurt. So now it's like this old man, you know, imagine like Mike Johnson, the 70-year-old wrestler, imagine him doing this stuff. You'd be like, okay, don't die. So I don't know. I know he's tough. I know he's cool. I know he's Mensa.
The live crowd was interesting on this one. They loved the plunder. They loved the stuff. The best reactions came from the security guards and the ushers and those people, the employees of the Air Canada Centre / Scotiabank Arena. They were watching this match, and you can tell that their reaction was, what the F are these people doing? How are there 13,000 people who paid for this stuff?
Dude, you're right. They did cheer a lot. That happened before Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy had their na-na-na-na moment. So he's just like, wow, this is the casual wrestling fan who's like, sure, I'll have you take your extra ticket and go to this wrestling thing. Sure, okay. Oh, it's not WWE. It's never heard of them. Okay, sure, let's go. And he's just like, what the fuck is going on around here? So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Ricochet and Gates of Agony, Toy Leona and Bishop Khan versus the Hurt Syndicates, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP. My friend, this is another match that didn't need to be on this pay-per-view, that could have been on a Dynamite or a Collision.
Yeah, except it's the match I wanted to see the most. These are the guys I want to see the most.
You have a weird obsession with MVP. I don't know what it is with you and MVP, but you love MVP, so I get that. Yeah,
it's this. I love the Hurt Syndicate, man. These guys are freaking. They're so badass right now. And even Sheldon, who used to be considered a small guy in WWE, he's eating chops from Ricochet and just being like, "The hell is going on?" And like, these guys are made from iron and are so cool. And Ricochet is one of my favorite characters now. And Toa Leone, I'm really not a Bishop Khan guy. I could do without Bishop Khan. But I've always been a Toa Leone fan, and suddenly he's there, and he's cool, and he's not just the guy I kind of liked. He's in the background from ROH, and, whatever. He's probably going to disappear. He's going to go the route of, a Shane Taylor type, and maybe he'll be around. But now he's suddenly there. He's doing his thing. I think he's going to get a push. Like, I love it. I don't love the name. The Demand is an awful name. But I'm loving all of this. And this was one of the most entertaining matches on the show. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Am I just a mark for these guys?
Yeah, I think you are.
All right. Sadly, that's the case. I love this match. Don't you dare put it on Dynamite.
All right. Yeah, this match was all right. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony get the win.
Oh, yeah, and they went over.
Much needed.
They went over.
Yep.
And we were talking about the predictability or whatnot. I think if you put a gun to my head, I would have been like, oh yeah, like Ricochet's team over and MVP eats the pin. Like, obviously, that's what's going to happen. And that's what happened. That's the thing is, when AEW doesn't swerve you, when they don't give you an ending you're not expecting, they literally give you the ending you're expecting after a match. If it's in the main event scene that you could not have ever expected or conceived of, you then get the ending that you knew was going to happen the whole time. Like, this show is a prime example of that with our main event.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that we were still sports entertained, knowing exactly how things would go down, that just goes to show you sometimes taking that route, the safe, quote unquote, safe route, is the better route.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm like, okay, wait, I almost snapped, but no, you're absolutely right.
You're just
next match.
I love this.
You dissed MVP, bro. Okay, no, sorry. Calm down. Next match.
Mercedes Moné versus Riho for the TBS Championship.
This is the match that I didn't think needed to be on here.
Agreed.
Rio's great and all, and they're like, I don't know. It was great. God, I sound like Tony Khan. It was great. I like Riho. I like Mercedes Moné. Yeah, it happened. And once again, the ending that we all knew was going to happen. There's no big swerves here. Mercedes has to go over. And I'm into Mercedes thing. I just like AEW, unfortunately, it's just not being done well. They have great ideas that they don't always do well. And I think Mercedes' multi-title run is one of them. I think it's a great idea. I think there's great things about it. I love her. I really don't love all of this. But hey, it was a match. It's done. It's over. Yeah, I didn't need to be here.
There we go. Now, we're on match number 6. Moving forward, I think this is when the pay-per-view went from pretty darn good to freaking good. Dare I say, even great.
Even with my MVP love, you are probably correct. The whole first half of this could have all been Dynamite stuff. Like, this is where the meat and potatoes hit the table.
Absolutely. It was great. Moving at this point to the first match where we think the pay-per-view really should have started was the 3-way for the AEW Unified Championship. Okada versus Takeshita versus Mascara Dorada. Here, Hutch. Here's the thing. Here's the craziest part about this match. I think Mascara Dorada was the MVP of this match.
MVP. We're saying MVP again. I just got excited. Is he here? Is he here? Okay, no. Okay. When you discover a band and you really like them a lot, and it's like they're like your band, and then suddenly your friend, you introduce a few of your friends to them, but then they hit the mainstream, and you're like, oh man, I used to like them way back when.
Yep.
I'm very happy for Mascara Dorada, but he's like my band. Grand Metalik was Mascara Dorada. Did very well in New Japan, did very well in CMML, got signed by WWE, took the Grand Metalik name. When he went back to the indie scene, I think he used the Mascara Dorada name for a very short period of time before just going straight to Metalik because the trademark was owned. The guy they put the mask on very soon after Metalik went onto the indie scene. God, I tell you, Lucha's so weird. They probably never would have put this gimmick on somebody if the guy who used to do the gimmick didn't then come back to the scene and they're like, oh, okay, well, we got to quickly put it. It's like when Sony needs to make a Spider-Man movie quickly. They're like, oh, dude, we got to make a Spider-Man movie before we run out of the rights. They're like, oh, he's back. Well, let's put the mask on someone else so he can't use it. Like, Lucha people are so weird. But the kid that they put this mask on, God, I can't remember who he was before his gimmick. This kid is awesome. And me and my partner at Demand Lucha were talking about trying to get him up for a while and how he's one of the best things going. Mel de Oro too, like Wagner's kid, not El Hijo del Wagner Jr. that they've got on WWE. The other one. Yeah. The other one is so good. The one they got on the AAA shows they had against Macias, like he's not that great. The other one's amazing. And this Mascara Dorado kid is amazing. I knew he was going to be the star of this match. And a lot of other people that were not big fans or at least hadn't seen a lot of his work were like, he's just in there to be fodder for these two so they can keep them apart and he can eat a pin. But I knew that he was going to blow everybody away. I did not know that they were going to give him like 80% of the damn match. And congratulations, because now everybody knows who this guy is and everybody's now a fan of my favorite band.
Isn't he just like 23 years old or something like that? Like 24? He's really young too to top it off. Yeah.
And he's got that dexterity. He's a natural in a lot of ways.
Dude, honestly, the crowd reaction to this match, everyone wanted Okada and Takeshita to face off, right? By the end of the match, people were legitimately cheering for Mascara Dorado to get the pin.
He was like an annoying gnat at the beginning, and people were like, this annoying gnat. And you can't even see his facials. You're like, what is this like blank canvas little thing in the ring? And by the end, people were like, yo, Dorado. People were like, what's his name at the beginning? They were like, Mascara Dorado, or what's his name? By the end, they were like, Mascara Dorado. That guy's amazing. You know, so good on him, and a great job by Tony Khan. You know, Aramis, the guy who's under the hologram mask, and this kid Dorado, and the guy who's under the clone mask now, and like these are some of the best lucha kids out there. We're talking the guys who can like meet each other at a stoplight and like do their lucha stuff in front of cars quickly and get some money, just walk away. You know, like these guys live and breathe this stuff. It's like getting out of bed and choosing their outfit for the day is like being in the pro wrestling ring. So we could be in store for some great collision matches in the future.
That's what it's all about. Saturday night on whatever channel they air on. Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin in a coffin match. This match was a lot of fun. This match was just plunder. This match was crazy. We had a returning Pac. What else can we say about this match, Hutch?
Pac, that was pretty cool. I don't know if his new haircut makes him look weird.
He looked very weird. It's funny because I saw him run from the back, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Who's this person running? I honestly did not notice him, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there you are.
Always been a weird looking dude.
Hutch, it might be the first time, and this is honestly this
he's wearing a shirt.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Is that it? Wearing his black and it's like a baggy shirt too. And it's like I keep getting these advertisements for these like shirts where they're like it's tight at the top and then like here loose at the bottom and it makes it like the true classic tee, exactly. I'm like, yo, Pac needs a true classic. Like why his t-shirt was baggy and weird, and you can't blame him. The guy never wears shirts, right? So it's like new to him. He's all like they're just like put a shirt on so people don't recognize you. He's like, oh well, how about you just grab somebody else's shirt? That's why it looked weird. He's like, just give me that shirt. All right. As soon as he got backstage, he took it off. He's like, this feels weird. He's like, somebody give me some underwear. Why am I wearing these pants for? It was pretty awesome. And there was no way in my mind. I kept closing my eyes and I was like, okay, Darby Allin's losing. And they're like, well, what's your reason? And I was like, because there's no way that Jon Moxley's going to be in a coffin and get close to like I can't see him losing a coffin match, being in a coffin and losing. I know it's like Darby's thing, coffins, ooh, Darby Allin. But like Jon Moxley was not losing a coffin match. That's a little too much bitch shit for him. I even love the fact that he like did the Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake thing. Like he was kind of freaked out by the coffin. Like great. I love that. Like give Moxley a little bit of character in that fear area. But there was no way that Jon Moxley, the man, was gonna lose a coffin match. You can pin him. You ain't putting him in a coffin and closing it. Screw you. Notice how I flipped out at the end about MJF and Mark Briscoe being like, I didn't need to see that. Like, I for some reason, I'm like, okay, do I care about Mox and Darby Allin doing this? And I'm like, no. Like, what are they going to do? Have a technical wrestling match? Like, exactly. MJF and Mark Briscoe could have a banger. What the hell are these two guys going to do? Okay, I'm like, all right, fine, go ahead. You guys you give them the tax.
And it looks like this feud is going to continue with what happened later when Darby literally put Mox on fire.
Yeah, what else are you going to do with these guys? Death Riders, there's so many directions they could go, and they never go any of them. So, look, just let them do their thing.
Well, the next match was a surprise for some, but I had this weird feeling that Toni Storm was going to lose her belt, but not the way that she did by eating the pin. And we're talking about Toni Storm versus Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter versus Tekla in a 4-way match for the AEW Women's Championship.
Like, this was pretty cool. Toni Storm, like, and her facials. I love her, like, body shape now and her body suits and, like, the white makeup and her facials. And, like, is this even the same woman from, like, 5-6 years ago? Like, I love all of this shtick. And even stat winning. You know, it's kind of, I like at least that she beat Toni. It did not like she, like, pinned Tekla or something. So that's pretty cool. And I think some people... A part of me was expecting it. I was like, if they got to do something, right? They can't just have her keep winning, because she's becoming like Undertaker now. She's becoming Toni Storm. Like, the promo beforehand, my woman walked in the room as she was promoing before the match, and like we both laughed. Like, she's such a character, and I don't mean like the character. I mean her as a human. Like, what a funny gal. You know, her and Juice are such a great couple. But yeah, like, if you were gonna do it, this is how you do it, right? Just like suddenly have her lose it. And so she either needs to not be the champ anymore because her character is strong enough to not need to be champion, or you have her like chase it for some reason. Well, hopefully they're going to do something with Stat, like turn her evil or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the funniest part about this match is the fact that this was Toni Storm's terms, so she kind of screwed herself. And then at the end of the match, she was literally in shock. She walked up the ramp in complete shock, constantly pointing at Statlander, and she looked livid with herself. So we will see what happens next in this.
Here's the angel and the devil. The angel on my shoulder is all like all the stuff I just told you. Like, oh yeah, it was great. She looked great. Her facials and here's the storyline. You know, that she did it to herself, and you saw how you know, surprised she was, and you deserve it for Statlander. And now she got the seatbelt maneuver because Wheeler Yuta whispered in her ear, and maybe she's gonna go bad, and maybe she's not. And that your AEW sickos will be like, look at all of this story, look at all this meat, look at all this drama. And then you've got other people that are not quite sickos who are being like, what are you talking about? This is bullshit. It was nothing. They threw it together, and they threw together the win, and it's like, there's no story here. So I can see both sides of it, because I'll sit there and listen to both people rant and give me all their reasons, and I can be like, okay, you seem passionate enough. Like, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But was I sports entertained to pull a Boris? Yeah, I was. And I think there's something... There's a reason for me to care. I'm going to be like, oh, what's going on now? Let's see Stat with the belt on, and let's see what Toni Storm says. So, hey, good on them. I'm interested.
Now let's see the follow-up. All right, the next match for the AEW Tag Team titles, a 4-way ladder match. Dorado versus the Young Bucks versus Jet Speed versus Josh Alexander and Hechicero. This match was fun. This match was good. I was scared for a lot of people during this match. They were doing some insane spots, maybe a little too many things. Dorado ends up retaining, but I guess the payoff and the big thing, we already talked about it, was the returning Jungle Boy and the reunion of
Jurassic Express, right? That's the name.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
hadn't actually said it out loud myself. So yeah, there we go. Jurassic Express. I thought maybe the Bucks were going to win. I thought they might do Dorado dirty, like transitional. The Bucks, God, when their theme song hit, and I realized they'd been doing theme song shenanigans for the last few shows. So it had been a while since you'd heard the weird sloppy piano. Dude, I gotta tell you, man, top 5 theme songs in wrestling right now. Like, it's when it hits, I get the feeling. I'm like, oh, here comes these freaking assholes. Oh boy, here we go. So yeah, that it works for me. The whole match, wow, like, what are we gonna do? Blow by blow? It's exactly what you expected and more. Like, maybe, I mean, on the list, if you're a sicko of best match of the night, like if you're a Spotfest guy, this was your match of the night. The Spotfest guy is looking at me being like, really, the MVP match, bro? That was what you were looking forward to?
Right. My favorite match was the unified match, but you're right. I know that a lot of people love this match. People were eating this up in the live crowd. Okay, so it's funny. So there were these EMTs, and at this point of the night, they were up, standing, and watching the show. Throughout the entire night, you can see them paying a little more attention. You know, they were glancing up from their puzzles. They were literally both doing puzzles, sitting on the side of the stage. By this point of the night, they were actually standing right beside the stage, watching the entire match.
Well, okay, is it because they were into the match or because they need to do their job?
They were into the match. You can tell that they were into the match. Like, they didn't sit back down. For the main event, they stood throughout, and you can even see them talking with, like, security, like, clearly asking questions and stuff. It was interesting to watch.
Because Okay, I'll go back and I'll take a look at some of that stuff, because this was actually the match where during the match I went and I did a couple things. I knew it was just going to be a spot fest, and I was planning to go back and watch it. And I even heard later that it was one of the better matches, so I thought, okay, watch it in a bubble, go and like sit down and watch just this match, which I didn't get around to doing. So I didn't watch it blow for blow throughout the whole thing, so I didn't see what you're talking about. But I've worked on set with a lot of medics. I've made a joke one time to somebody where something happened and it hit a guy in the knee, and he was like, oh, and I was like, oh, and I yelled, medic, as a joke, because the medics, they're way down this hallway. They're nowhere near where we are. But one of them had just decided to stretch his legs. It was just walking into this like little area where me and this guy were when I yelled medic as a joke. Bro, this guy like flashed over, came running. He was like, and I was like, whoa. No, I didn't know you were, I was just making a joke. But these guys, some of them take their jobs very seriously. So I'd like to think some of them were paying attention because they were on alert. But how can you not pay attention if you're not a wrestling guy and you're just there doing your EMT job, and suddenly this is in front of you and you're like, okay, they had the tax before. Now what the fuck are they doing now? Like, right? Imagine being a non-wrestling, and as an EMT, it's not like you're way back in the crowd like the guy I was talking about. It's like you're right there looking up these ladders at people being like, holy shit, the hell's going on?
You had the thumbtack match, you had the coffin match, and now this. Like as a medic, you're like, what's going on? What the hell?
Yes. So, yeah, Brodito wins. Great. I think there's some legs to this team. It's pretty fun stuff. What the hell was with the bad booking of bringing Luchasaurus back early? Like, I guess Nick Wayne hurt his foot at the very last minute. They're like, what would work as a tag partner? I guess Luchasaurus makes sense because he'd be a great heater.
It's a failed experiment with Jack Perry's singles run. That's literally it.
No. That's not what I mean. I mean, when he came back for the Edge and Christian match with Kip Sabian, obviously this was supposed to be the Luchasaurus debut. They were supposed to show that video for the first time, and he was going to show up now.
Who knows?
But they had to push it
why
early.
They did that weird thing with him and Christian. Like, the impact was sort of lost. Like, this would have been a perfect reintroduction of him.
Yeah, and obviously I think this was supposed to be the reintroduction, and they had to like think quickly on their feet with the injury to Nick Wayne previously. But it took a little bit of the shine off of it. But this is a world where we're supposed to pretend that Statlander didn't turn heel for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So I guess we can forget it. He took off his kill switch belt as if like last month meant nothing. Yep. Throw it away, whatever. But hey, great stuff. Some people online were saying like, all you can do with Jack Perry right now is do this. So I'm glad they did it. I think it'll be fun.
That's exactly it. All right, main event. Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher for the AEW Championship. The crowd was ruthless to Kyle Fletcher, saying he's not ready and things like that. And I think by the end of the match, people bought into Kyle Fletcher. But Hutch, did you?
No, I didn't buy into him winning. And I would have loved to have bought into him not going 40 minutes. But I am buying into the story that I think it was 5 years ago, Hangman Page, it was at this very event, like his loss to he lost to Jericho, then he lost again. Like, this is kind of mirroring the Okada rise against Tanahashi and mirroring Hangman himself. His first big main event coming in, big match, he loses. So I can see 4 years from now, 3 years from now at this event or his next big main event push, winning. Because, this is a Japanese style company as far as booking mentality, which is why it sometimes doesn't work in America. But I think I like that Tony Khan is sticking to his guns in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I can see the rise of Kyle Fletcher. And like I mentioned to you before, there's not a lot of guys in AEW that I correspond with. And Fletcher's my boy, And I love that he's so big now. And I was telling him just years ago, like, dude, you're going to be the man. And man, it's not often I'm right about stuff. It's nice to be right. Hopefully he keeps going and he is the man.
Something really sweet throughout the entire match. Sky Blue was right by the stage just watching the entire thing, smiling from ear to ear. It was really cool to see.
Yeah. AEW did their thing. We've said before, they should ignore WWE, just do their thing. And this was them doing their thing.
That's exactly it. That's what I've been saying. We've been saying, I've been saying, you've been saying. We say it together here on KPHR because you are listening here on KPHR and we are talking AEW All Out and we are going to transition into WWE WrestlePalooza very soon.
Oh, and just for a second, in the past, the U.S. champion for WCW was always considered the number one contender. So you got a lot of haters out there who are like, he's not ready, and why are they doing it? It's the idea that the TNT champion, people are talking about how this is a dead title. and it's meaningless and whatnot. How do you make it meaningful? I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's not the second title because you've got the unified title and Don Callis walking around with the other two belts and like, what the hell's going on there? And you are right. That was pretty much one of the matches of the night. Every time Dorado wasn't in the ring, it was electric. People couldn't wait to see the next blow. But the idea that Fletcher got this shot simply because he was the TNT champion, and Don Callis, I got one of the few guys out there that has a manager. The manager's all like, he's the number one contender, he's TNT champion, he deserves a shot. And they did this in WCW a lot, where they would just have the US champ get a shot at the title. So, it's not that outside the box for this kind of thing to happen, and I'm kind of okay with it in some ways.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. We got a hell of a main event, and Kyle Fletcher is certainly on the road to becoming a star. You cannot deny that. You can't take that away from him. And like you said, this is just step one of a very long story, I think.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I know we were going to do WrestlePalooza like tomorrow or whatnot, but I just want to talk about Brock Lesnar and John Cena before we go. You got time for that?
Let us switch over, talk about John Cena and Brock Lesnar, the match that directly went up against AEW All Out.
Yeah, like you were there at the arena watching on Netflix, I assume, along with a majority of people there, watching Brock Lesnar come out, watching John Cena come out with all the kids. That was great.
That was awesome.
God, it's so weird that he's just a face now. My girl walked in, she was like, so he's a good guy now? And I was like, yeah. She's like, how'd that happen? And I was like, he just like Cena'd it. He was just all like, you guys are right. I'm a jerk. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm a good guy now. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, if anybody can do it, I don't think anybody could have pulled it off but him, and he barely did. And I'm rolling my eyes here being like, yeah, he pulled it off. But it was great to see him come out with all the kids. I'll give him that. And question, Boris, are you surprised at how the match went?
Absolutely not. I said this on the Poison Rana podcast
a few
weeks ago with Davey that this is going to mirror SummerSlam 2014, where Brock absolutely destroys John Cena. The only difference is Cena maybe got a couple extra punches, couple extra moves, but this match was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, he was going to take him to Suplex City, baby. This is exactly what I expected. What did anybody else expect? John Cena can eat these losses. Exactly. He's such a sympathetic character now.
That's the thing. He doesn't need to win every single match on this retirement tour, and this is a perfect way to reintroduce Brock Lesnar back into the fold. Say what you want about him, blah, 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 blah. You need to rebuild this character. He went through a lot of losses before he disappeared against Cody Rhodes, so it doesn't really shock me that this happened at all. In fact, it opens up a weird window where John Cena could face him again.
Yeah, man. Steak is good for you, I hear. Ask Brock Lesnar. Right? Holy shit. Like, right? Look at the size of this freaking guy. What a beast. And he doesn't care about anything. Like, why would you? You can literally eat any other human being. You're rich. You have a beautiful life. Like, man, this guy's like top of the world. And what did anybody else expect? Like, this guy was going to come in, destroy John Cena, and he was going to, at the very least, win. What are you expecting? Like a competitive match? Although I got to admit, for the 9-minute match that it was, combine that with the Usos yeeting and the intros and the packages and the "Are you ready?" and sports has always been entertainment, always was, always will. Like, geez, man, 9 minutes of wrestling. We hit the 1 hour mark of WrestlePalooza, and that's all we had. Man, when we say that AEW is too much wrestling, like WWE is not enough. But at least what they gave us was kind of entertaining, but hard to imagine they got as much hype, pomp, and circumstance and attention off of just these two guys dicking around in the ring a little bit compared to an entire AEW show,
Exactly.
So,
exactly. This was the weird part. The timing of the WWE show, it's like they gave the crowd time to get home before the rest of the show really happened. It was very weird, very strange, very WWE, very streaming app that has ads supported of them. And then, like I say, this is going to happen if AEW goes the free route, like, where it's non-pay-per-view, you're going to start getting more ads, and it's going to be a different overall experience. But yeah, it was just very weird. But yeah, the John Cena Brock Lesnar match went exactly the way that I thought it would. Hutch, we're going to be talking about the rest of the card midweek, but just real quick, what were your thoughts on, the overall show and just the way that Saturday went down?
I don't know, man. You're right. It's becoming way too corporate too fast. I think Saturday, how Saturday as a day went down, I think it was rough for wrestling fans, man. They got to stop doing this to us. I guess they're fighting with each other and they're fighting for money while AEW is not really fighting. They're just fighting back or defending themselves, whatever you want to say. WWE's being a bully, and we're all, not only are we getting gouged and overpriced, but also like you're monopolizing all of our time and like making us have to jump through hoops to see this and see that. And I'm like, wow, yeah, Saturday was rough for everybody. Like I said, a month ago or 2 months ago, we were all digesting all this wrestling from an ROH Friday with the best match of the year, maybe, Bandito and Takeshita, all the way into an Evolution Sunday, and it seemed like okay. But now you're doing it to us again, and then you're doing it to us again, and now I had to watch 2 shows on a Saturday, and I'm burned out. You already took that energy from me this year.
I was so burnt out by the end of Saturday. It was not even like yesterday. On Sunday, I was so tired. I was worn out. I got headaches. It was just a lot. It was just a long day of wrestling. And even the ask of AEW to keep you in the arena from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. essentially, just a show. You know, then there were the group of us who went to the presser after, but just the show was 6 hours. That's a long ass ask.
That's a long ass. Yes. What about they're all a bunch of asses. And, you know, I think about WWE is all about moments. We're all creating moments now. Well, let me tell you, Vakur and Io Sky would have been a hell of a better moment of them bowing down to each other and exchanging the title if it didn't take place on the Papa John's logo. So I am firmly becoming a sicko more and more because I can't believe Tony Khan's the little guy, goddamn billionaire, but he is kind of a little guy. But it's amazing, you know, not to get political, but it's amazing how many people have changed their tune with Charlie Kirk getting shot. I'm seeing people talking about going to church for the first time ever and like waking up to the lie, this and that. Like there's a lot of people changing their tune and doing things. And it's amazing how one thing can be a catalyst. Well, WWE announcing WrestleMania in Saudi and then it opening my eyes to really how much other stuff and shenanigans they've been up to. And like, that was enough for me to suddenly be like, you know what? I might be a sicko now, man. Like, I'm in the AEW camp because I did not need to see Stephanie Vakur being so heartfelt and overwhelmed and her father in the audience and getting everything she's ever worked so hard from, living a life of poverty and the kind of the things that she did to get where she's at and her talent and that spot on goddamn finisher. And God, this woman's amazing. And it had to happen on top of the Papa John's logo. I don't know why it makes me so bitter, but it just did.
Just does. Sometimes it just does.
It just does.
All right. Your socials, where can we find you?
At Hutch Henry's. That's Henry's RIES, not a Y at the end. Hutch Henry's. And it's A+, that's EH plus wrestling. All right, we got to spell it all out here. At Hutch Henry's on all your socials, pal. And on YouTube, most importantly.
There we go. A+, EH, and the sign plus is where you want to go. And type that in to your podcasting app. Hit that subscribe. Leave a review. Hutch, we're going to be sitting down very soon. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff and how we're going to be doing things on the background. And to all of our awesome listeners, thank you so much for listening. We do this all for you. And remember that we're going to be talking more WWE midweek here on A+ Wrestling. So go to your favorite podcasting app, A+ Wrestling, hit subscribe, and we'll be with you next Monday. So on behalf of the entire A+ crew, thank you so much for listening. But most importantly, stay tranquilo.